So for the first time, South Africans have been given some insight into where the cash for political parties is coming from. The Political Party Funding Act came into operation on the 1st of October. It requires parties to disclose any donation above 100,000 Rand. It also puts restrictions, including that donations cannot be received from state-owned entities or foreign governments and agencies. Now, only the ANC, the DA and Action SA declared their interests, though. The ANC declared individual donations of nearly 11 million Rand and the DA nearly 16 million Rand. To discuss, we're joined by the IEC Head of Political Party Funding, George Mahlangu. Mr. Mahlangu, thank you for being with us. Firstly, the ANC and the DA and Action SA declared, but apparently not the other parties and not the EFF. Why?
Good afternoon, Francis, and good afternoon to your viewers at home. Francis, you're correct. Only 3 political parties have declared the donations received. We've got more than 500 political parties that are registered with the Commission. However, out of these 500, only 15 are represented in both, the provincial and national legislatures. The rest are not represented in any seats of these 2 legislative houses. Now, how the political party funding works is that political parties will receive donations from the donors. Both the donor and the political parties must, declare these donations to the Commission. Now, the question you're asking that why the other political parties have not, where we're sitting, we may not know until the end of the financial year, because the political parties must appoint auditors who will audit their financial statements at the end of the financial year. So we will only know at that point, or when the member of the public brings a complaint to us about the the transgression of the legislation.
Okay, because I guess what's suspicious here is that a big party like the EFF did not declare that it received any donations above 100,000 Rand. It only has to declare, of course, if they're above 100,000 Rand. So you don't go and ask the EFF, did you not receive those donations, or did you receive the donations and you're not telling us? You don't interrogate that right now.
We have sent, emails, post the 31st of July. The period under review is between the 1st of April and the 30th of June. And political parties were given July, to finalize their reporting, to submit, or to declare to the Commission. And the Commission has got a month to look at the quality checks and stuff like that. So post-July, we've sent emails to all registered political parties, all of them, to say they must confirm whether they have not received any donation that is declarable. A declarable donation is a donation that is above 100,000 and limited to 15 million per annum. So out of those, not all the political parties have responded, but I must confirm that EFF is one of the political parties that has confirmed that they have not received any donation.
Okay, so that clarifies it. Thank you very much. They're saying they haven't received any individual donation above 100,000 Rand. And the smaller parties are saying they can't afford these auditors. This is a burden for them. So what happens in that case?
Yeah, look, it's a pity and it's unfortunate for smaller parties. This legislation applies to all registered political parties. Once you register with the Commission, the legislation applies to you, whether you receive money or you don't receive money. And it's a bit unfortunate for those smaller parties, as they are expected to comply with the legislation regardless. However, what we will try to promote is that these smaller parties must at least, declare nil returns. At least they must communicate to us to say we haven't received any donation to the period under review, or we are not going to declare, or we are not going to prepare any financial statements at the end of the financial year, because there hasn't been any money that has come, into our coffers, unless they've received some form of donation. Then they can use part of that donation to pay the auditors. So it is unfortunate, and you would know that the Commission is not the developer of this legislation. It was put at our doorstep. Yeah. And unfortunately, we must implement it with some of these shortcomings. And maybe sooner or later, we will see an amendment, to this legislation to cater for the frustrations or the lessons that we are learning from what we're seeing at the moment.
Mr. Mahlangu, I'm interested. Before this act came into effect, political parties didn't have to say how much they were receiving and from where, so we can only speculate. But do you think that because of this new transparency, some of the funding has dried up? Some people don't want to donate now. The ANC is struggling to pay its staffers.
Look, one of the key importance of this legislation is to create transparency. And that is why we're seeing the political parties who have donated to these various political parties of their choice. And it's good for democracy, so that when the voters go and vote, they would go and vote knowing who's funding who. However, what we're hearing from other political parties, from various media platforms, is that the introduction of the Political Party Funding Act, it has somehow impacted them, because their donors are reluctant, to come forward. And it is expected, some donors who are owning companies, they may put money in the coffers of the political party. They may have issues with their employees, that we want increments and whatnot. Yeah. So you may have all sorts of issues when you are a donor. However, we do have a multi-party democracy fund. I think what has been a disappointment for us is that we've got a fund called Multi-Party Democracy Fund, which is a first of its kind internationally. And contributors to that fund, they basically promote multi-party democracy, because that money doesn't go to a single political party. It goes to all political parties who are represented in these two legislative houses that I've mentioned. So to date, since the beginning of, since the implementation of the Act, only 2,000 Rand has been contributed into that fund. Wow. From one member of the public. Yeah.
And he didn't mind being named. I see that he's been named. He was proud of that donation, but what an incredibly small amount. Mr. Mahlangu, we're running out of time, so can I throw in one last question? But because perhaps even more contentious than political party funding has been the internal funding for campaigns. For example, for the presidency of the ANC. President Ramaphosa's campaign allegedly raising a lot of cash, a lot of questions being asked. What happens in terms of those campaigns in future?
The legislation is silent about intra-party leadership contestations. So we won't go into that space until such time the legislation has been or is amended to talk to such.
But then I ask you, are there not loopholes here now that donors can wait and only donate to a specific candidate? Then they will be kept secret. And of course, there's this 100,000 Rand limit. Can't people just make a lot of small donations over time, ensuring that they're under 100,000 Rand?
The difference, when you put money into the coffers of a contester, someone who's contesting leadership, it doesn't go into the political party's bank account. It would go into the in the bank account of that politician or any structure that has been set up by that politician. Here we're working on only the bank account that political parties are supposed to open as prescribed by the legislation. Now, when it comes to the threshold of 100,000, yes, someone can split 100 or 900,000 into 90,000.
Yeah.
They can do that. However, the legislation is silent. It allows that monies of that such, we won't even know about them, because the 100,000, it is the threshold. The civil society feels that 100,000 is too much, but the political parties are saying, who can buy us with 100,000? So you've got these two extreme views, where the civil society that drop the amount to 20,000. Political parties says even the 100,000 is little. Who can buy us with 100,000? So we're sitting with that. As the commission will watch the space until such time someone is of the opinion that there are these loopholes, they must be, they must sponsor the proposal to amend the legislation.
All right.
As the commission, it won't be easy. It would be difficult for us to say the legislation covers this or it doesn't cover that, because we must remain as independent as always.
All right, and you have explained that you're working within the parameters of this new law. Thank you for that. That was the IEC's head of political party funding, George Mahlangu.